You can be emotionally aware, spiritually devoted, and doing all the right things and still feel stuck in the same patterns. Could it be the problem isn't your mindset, but how your nervous system learned to survive? Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to empower coaches and entrepreneurs to amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head on over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Kathryn Eipl. Kathryn is an emotional strategist, Reiki master, sound therapist, and yoga and meditation guide, and the founder of Eipl Healing. Every individual person is love. She blends psychology, yogic practices, Reiki, and sound healing to help people regulate their nervous system, release stored emotional energy, and create lasting change. She's the creator of the NeuroResonance Method, a trauma-informed approach supporting those navigating addiction, heartbreak, and self-sabotage to build a healthier, more loving relationship with themselves without forcing mindset shifts or using cookie-cutter solutions. Welcome to the show, Kathryn. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
So let's ask you the big question. Are y'all ready?
Mhm.
What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
That is for me to stand up and take action in what it is that you want. If you want to see something change, you need to bring awareness to it. You also need to take action towards that change. So I think the biggest thing that we can all do is actually take that initiative rather than being silent and sitting still.
I love that personal responsibility. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. Right? So much can change if we all take on that personal responsibility.
Yeah, and it's it's one thing to say, okay, I'm all committed to changing my life and solving all my problems and but it's sometimes kind of another thing when you're doing all the things, you think you're doing all the things, because a lot of
Hmm.
us have been through various programs and coaching and therapists, and we realize that we have something that we need to resolve, but we don't really know where to go next.
Right. And so then you get into a pattern of where you just feel stuck and you're like, well, I just made so much progress and now like I'm not done, but what do I do next? So it's like you're kind of sitting on your hands waiting or hoping that someone's gonna come and be like, you do this. Here you go. And you're like, great. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's what you help people with, right?
That is what I help people with. That is why Eipl Healing is created. And a lot of times, I think many people can relate to the fact that we just weren't taught how to really work with our emotions and also regulate our nervous system because we kind of lived in the age of being a kid. If you were crying, a lot of times you were told to just kind of get over it or to work through it on your own, but you're like, I don't know what that means. I'm just a kid, so I guess I'll just try to not cry. Uh, so I help people learn to identify the emotion that they're feeling because there's a whole range of emotions, and really, there's about eight common ones that I think most people identify with or at least know. But then, like, anger can break down into four different types of emotions, right? So it's really understanding the differences between those and then giving yourself the space to really listen to how those emotions are resonating throughout your body. Is there a place that feels tense or tight? Are you feeling hot or maybe even sweaty? And from there, it's learning how to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So bringing yourself out of the survival mode and into the rest and relaxation phase.
I think a lot of people don't really realize that when you have an emotion, it generates a chemical response in your body. So your body is actually physically doing something. And if you
Hmm.
don't get control of it, other things happen. And if you don't learn how to adjust it, like animals, for instance, when they get agitated or if they're done, if they were in a fight or flight situation, they'll often shake.
Hmm.
And the shaking is to release that energy because all of that stuff is built up in their bodies and they just do it automatically. But people, they don't shake. Usually, people that are involved in big traumas, they will shake.
Yes.
It is something they do. But for the average person, it's
Yeah. And that's something that was never taught to us. And like, I will shake my body like on purpose
Mhm.
because when I feel my energy build up, I'm either getting really anxious and I can feel like the temperature shift, my body's making that response. So I'll either like shake and just kind of like make it look like I'm dancing or just like kind of bounce up and down for a little bit and go on a walk because my energy needs to move, right? It's better to get it released and broken up rather than to keep it inside and try to go throughout my whole day. Because if I'm responding to a day out of an anxious phase, that's gonna do more harm than good. It's not gonna convey the confidence that I want, the strength that I want to come across as. I'm also probably gonna make some poor decisions out of seeking validation rather than knowing, like, no, this is what I want to do, and I don't care what other people say about it because this is my choice. Um, Whereas if I'm reacting from an anxious spot, it'll be like, well, I don't actually want to do this, but I know that if I do this, then I will get the praise of like these five people. So like that would feel really good to me because I am just feeling so much anxiety right now. So it wouldn't lead to the outcome I want.
right. And I think people experience that often. They don't they don't know how to regulate their nervous system. And so they're just kind of stuck in this fight or flight mode. And
Hmm.
if you're in it a long time, it starts to affect your organs because that energy gets stored in various parts of your body. And it's like, I think it's how we get disease a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there is that saying, dis-ease is from dis space ease
Hmm.
in the energetic body. And if you're constantly living in a phase where you feel like you're in survival mode all the time, you're you're not regulated and you might have a lot of illnesses or health issues pop up because you could be undernourished, not getting enough rest, and that leads to a whole other set of issues within the body. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that you mentioned undernourished.
Hmm.
Even though people are eating, they're not necessarily nourishing themselves. And especially when we're in stress, we call it stress eating. And eating usually involves things that aren't necessarily helpful to your body, which just compounds the problem.
Exactly. And sometimes in that phase, like if you know that you have somewhere to be, but you know that you need to eat food, you'll eat it so fast that your body's not actually getting a chance to properly digest it. It's not able to pull the nutrients from the food that it can. It's
Mhm.
just literally being pushed through your body. So it's actually not helping you, even if you were eating something nutritious like a salad or something. Because if you're just eating it so fast, the body can't absorb its nutrition.
I wonder how cortisol plays into that. Because I know people, you can eat the same amount of food, but if you're under a lot of stress, same type, same amount. But if you're under stress, you start gaining weight.
Yeah, I feel like the cortisol can block your metabolism and it slows the metabolism process down. So it's just like if you just keep eating and again, like you were saying, when we're stressed, you're eating more of what is comfort food, eh, thinking that that will make you feel better. And maybe it is a little band-aid in the moment because it tastes so good and reminds you of things. Uh, but typically, comfort food is often not the most nutritious. So then it's things that are harder for your body to break up, like carbs and starch. So you're that takes more time to digest. And if you're really stressed, then your metabolism is also just moving slower. So it's really important to listen to your body and start to recognize just even the subtle cues of when you can feel your body having some sort of reaction.
So how does unresolved emotional energy live in the nervous system, even when you logically understand your patterns?
If things haven't been fully processed, you haven't actually worked through the issue and talked about it, had your emotional response to it, whether it was crying or some sort of anger or even grief, then it's being stored in the physical body and it will just live there until you're ready to process it. And you might not even know that it's there because your body just becomes used to having this extra thing in. Like, for instance, so many people have shoulder tension because we have a lot of responsibilities and we tend to take on more responsibilities. And so we feel the weight of the world quite literally on our shoulders. And so we're pulling our shoulders in, we're tensing our upper back, we're tensing the back of our neck as we tense our back as well. And if you do that chronically, most of the day, all day, every day, then your muscles are just getting used to being essentially giant knots. And after a while, you don't feel how tight your own back is because it's become normal. So you're like, this is just my back. This is how it feels. Until you go and get a massage and it gets loosened up. And then you're like, whoa, I didn't realize how stressed I was, how much tension I was holding on to.
It can also pull your bones out of place, and then you start having back pain, and it's because your muscles are so tight, they're pulling the discs
Out
for
of
your
place.
spine out of place, and then it's pushing against a nerve, and then it's like, oh, okay, you got my attention finally.
Yeah, and then people, your back freezes up, and some people are told that they need to have surgery for herniated discs for that reason, and a lot of that can be avoided if you really learn the warning signs of your body. And it can be hard to do that at first because our society, I think it's changing now, but it definitely lived by ignoring a lot of the warning signs from your body.
Mhm.
Now more and more people are understanding that there is this huge connection between our mind, our body, and our energetic body.
Mhm.
So when you really think about it, emotions are energy, and they do elicit some sort of chemical response within your body. Like when you feel happy, it's like you almost just feel lighter. Your muscles are softening up. You might even like widen your shoulders, open the physical heart space. And if you're anxious or scared, you're gonna like curl forward, your back might tense. You can also get really hot. So it's important to know when those things are happening and then to take a moment. And when you're first learning, I like to use the method of overcorrecting because it's like, okay, now you've noticed that you're doing this. So when you're curled forward, take a real big like stretch, pull the shoulders back, just roll them down, sit up nice and straight. And then ask yourself, okay, how does this feel to hold this posture? Like maybe you're most likely still going to be a little anxious because it doesn't go away just like that immediately. Unfortunately, it would be cool if it did. Um, but you'll start to notice that even by doing that, there's been some alleviate, like some stress has melted away. Your body is starting to open up. You're breathing a little bit more clearly. So the nervous system is already starting to settle down. And then you can take a few more deep breaths until you feel like your pulse has slowed down and you feel a little bit more calmer. And then you can move through the task or the situation at hand.
How do you think like power postures play into all of this and smiling?
Um, Power postures, I feel, can be very helpful. I think everybody comes in at a different range, right? So when you're starting out and you've never done a power pose, it's going to feel really weird. So it's something that I would build up to with that, right? Because if you've never done a power pose, uh, I'd rather focus on just identifying where those physical symptoms are happening in the body and what
Mhm.
they are, right? Because first we just need to build up a language of how your body is communicating with you, because everybody's a little bit different. And so then if you are comfortable, like with your posture, you've worked with power poses, I think it is a great way to start because it also adds some humor for me. Because if I'm doing something where I'm like, do I want to do that? Do I want? And then I decide, I'm like, yes, I want to do that. I'll put my hands on my hips and just like make myself take up space. I'm like, how does it feel good knowing that I've made this decision? I feel happy because it's a decision I want to make and I'm gonna stick with it, right? Uh, so it's a good tool to use to help you get more comfortable with opening up your understanding of how posture can really become an equal player in your emotions.
And smiling?
Thank you. I forgot about smiling. Smiling is a good way to kind of start to trick the body into thinking that you are happier than what you might seem, right? And something that I'll do when I first started doing all of this is I would be like, well, I'm not happy and I'm smiling, but I would have the conversations as I was smiling. And it would just be talking to myself, looking at a mirror. I'm like, well, I'm smiling, so I must be happy, but I don't feel happy. I don't feel happy because this happened and this happened and this happened. Like maybe if I smile brighter, it'll help. And so I would like give the cheesiest smile I could and immediately start laughing. And
Mhm.
then because the laughter creates its own chemical response and does trigger some dopamine. So it actually does help you feel a little bit better.
I used to do that with my daughter, my youngest daughter. She would get all mopey. I've had five kids, so this was the last one, and she was an experiment. I love her dearly. She's like the coolest gal ever. But she would get mopey and she would want to be like whiny. And I go, smile, Sarah. And she would laugh. And then the whininess went away. So,
Hmm.
so it's like it was so easy. And parents, they get caught up in the, you know, please stop whining because parents don't want justice, they want quiet.
Hmm. Yeah.
And and then we both be laughing together and it was a bonding experience instead of a correcting experience. And it really helped our relationship.
That's beautiful. Well,
It
and
was fun.
that's what I feel like is missing from children's education about emotions because a lot of times, like you said, parents want quiet. So we're taught that if we're crying or having a unwanted emotional outburst of any way, that we need to figure out a way to be quiet about it. So that's signaling subconsciously that our emotions shouldn't be heard. Nobody wants to hear our emotions.
Mhm.
And
And they don't matter.
mhm. So I love that you took that time with your daughter to be like, okay, well, try smiling, right? Because it does create that shift. Maybe it won't be as immediate, but it is a helpful tool to have. And if you can't smile and laugh at your own healing journey, as I'm a huge believer that laughter is also medicine.
Mhm.
So I laugh at myself all the time. One, partly because I do think I'm hilarious, and two, because like healing, it is not all sunshine, rainbows, happiness, puppies, and unicorns. It can be dark. You're confronting your traumas, your shadows. So let's add some humor to it, make it a little bit more fun because it doesn't need to be 100% serious all the time.
I love that. I love that. So how do you help people? Is it in groups? Is it one-on-one?
I
Communities? How does that
I
look?
am doing a lot of one-on-one sessions right now. I also work at an addiction recovery center in Carlsbad. So I'll lead groups like yoga and sound therapy for them. And individually, I offer Reiki, which is a form of energy work, sound therapy, and then my emotional strategy work, which is the NeuroResonance Method. And that's a combination of cognitive behavioral therapeutic techniques, getting you to understand what your current thought process is, identifying where those behaviors come from, and then working to build in different thoughts, different behaviors. Reiki and sound therapy are included with the neuroresonance method, so that way we're getting it on the energetic level in the physical body, not only just the cognitive level, because everything is connected. So when we're targeting all three of those, we can accelerate the healing process a little bit faster than if we were just doing one of those modalities.
I love that. And people can experience this with you for free.
Yes, so if you go to my website and sign up for my emailing list, you will be given directions on how to claim a free neuroresonant resonant session for yourself. And that is the initial session of talking about where you are now and kind of what's going on and where you want to be, what your goals are. And then we'll create a little roadmap on how to get from point A to point B.
I love that. And so when you do your sessions that are one-on-one rather than your community live things in Carlsbad, though people could come to Carlsbad and join you, is that
That is possible. So I have an open group on Tuesdays in La Jolla at 12:30. It's a restorative yoga and sound therapy class. And then I also have an open community group. It's the first and third Saturdays of the month at 9:30 in the morning in Encinitas. Again, yoga and sound therapy.
So if you're
Yeah.
in Southern California, you might want to drop in to one of her sessions, and they can find out about that on your website as well. Or is that
You can reach out to me and I can send further information on how to get signed up for one of those classes.
that sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
I
And
I love it. I'm blessed at the fact of like, yes, that is my work and it doesn't feel like work. I get to lead people on stretches where we're seated or laying on the ground and then do some sound healing, play lovely instruments for them. So I love that that's my one of my
work.
lines of work, yes.
I love that it's play too.
Yeah.
It's just like I think we need to embrace more of lifestyles like that and
Mm-hmm.
get away from we have to just like go show up in this space that makes us miserable. We allow ourselves to be made miserable experiencing that
Yeah.
feel trapped that we have to.
Yeah, and
And
it
that's
you want something that's going after that like childlike energy of just giving yourself some freedom, right?
mm,
So I I largely do live my life around that principle of, well, my heart's not in it. There's no joy for me here. I'm not gonna do it.
that's fantastic. I think more if more of us chose to live intentionally like that, everybody else would be happier around us
Mm-hmm.
because we
And
wouldn't be so miserable.
yeah, and that, comes back to the personal responsibility like we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Because
Mhm.
I used to work in corporate entertainment, so I understand the office life, the cubicle life, the long hours of entertainment, the chronic changing of schedules. Uh, and that lifestyle was miserable for me. Like at first it was cool and it quickly lost its luster. And I realized that if I wanted my life to change, I had to change my life.
Yeah. And it's so exciting to change your life and do
Mm-hmm.
something different. And you don't have to stay on that path forever, but the experience that you get to have for now is it's incredible. Like,
Exactly. Like you might choose to do a complete 180 and do something you never saw yourself doing. Because
mhm,
if you asked me 10 years ago if this was my goal, if having a health and wellness practice of my own was what I was aiming for or would have
mhm,
happened to me, I would have laughed at you because that was not at all on my career plan. It wasn't the path that I was taking for myself.
mhm.
And then I did have that moment where it was just like, okay, I'm gonna walk away from everything I worked for and go do this other thing because it makes me happy. And I love it. It's still challenge and builds my character because it allows me to show up in different ways that I wouldn't have
Mhm.
thought about before. And I also have the freedom to be like, this is what I'm doing right now. So if I want to change or to add something in or adapt something or do a complete change again, I can. I know I can because I did it. So if I want to do it again, I do it again. And that's
Yeah,
comforting, to know that I
yeah,
don't have to be locked into a specific way of living.
yeah. That's true freedom,
Hmm.
really. Intentional living. Thank you so much for joining us, Kathryn. This has been a lovely conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Jill. I've appreciated our conversation today.
To learn more about Kathryn and to schedule your session with her, please visit eiplehealing.com/emotional health counseling. And we'll be sure to put that link in the show notes below. In order to contact her, you can just type in eiplehealing.com and look for the contact button in the menu.
Hmm.
Thanks for tuning in today to the You World Order Showcase podcast. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is easy. Simply head to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.